One of the stocks that I really like from an asymmetric potential perspective is Zillow. The company isn't profitable right now, but it has a phenomenal position in the housing industry. And as we start to change how people are selling houses, not only moving to a more digital world, but also basically the cartel that the National Association of Realtors has run between sellers agents and buyers agents, that is breaking down in part because of a $1 billion plus lawsuit that was filed, and they were found to have been colluding to keep fees artificially high for the real estate industry. So if that means that there's going to be changes in real estate and how we buy and sell homes, Zillow is likely to be one of the beneficiaries of that. Now, that business model change is going to take a long time, but this is one of the first places that people go to look for housing, not just in regional areas, but nationwide. So phenomenal opportunity in a multi-trillion-dollar market. And there was a big piece of news in the last couple of weeks, which was one of the board of directors members, the fund that he helped found and owns, bought $100 million worth of Zillow stock. Now, insiders sell stock for all kinds of reasons, especially when it's associated with a fund that they may be running like this one is, but they only buy stock for one reason. They buy it because they are bullish on the company. And so if insiders, like a CEO, like a board of directors member, are buying stock, I think that's worth a second look. So I want to go through exactly what we found out about Jay Hoag's purchase of Zillow stock and where there might be upside for the company long term. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video's sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. So let's get right to that $100 million acquisition. This is a look at the acquisition, and this is technically reported by Jay Hoag, but it was actually through his fund, which is TCV. I'll get to that in just a second. But you can see these are some huge acquisitions of stock for all of these funds. 625,000 shares at $42 per share, 200,000 shares. In total, there's about $100 million of stock acquired in early to mid-June. So a really significant purchase, even for funds that are around $20 billion in total under management. So who exactly is Jay Hoag? Well, he's a founding partner for TCV. He's an independent director at Zillow, and he's actually been on the board of directors since 2005. So a long history with Zillow, but there are some other pretty big names that he's been involved with. He's a member of the board of directors for Netflix, and he has been since 1999, fairly successful company. Peloton, maybe not the same level of success, but again, big player in the tech space, formerly had a very high valuation. And then also TripAdvisor, been on the board since 2018. So another very successful company in the tech space. So very well connected. You can go through a list of companies here that he has either invested in or been involved in, from early stage investments to public stage investments. So when Jay Hoag buys $100 million of stock, this should be pretty notable for investors. The other person that joined the board of directors recently that really caught my eye was Bill Gurley. Bill Gurley is a well-known venture capitalist, was involved with Zillow early on, came back to Zillow last year, but he was with Zillow from 2005 to 2015. So again, this is another big, well-known investor who has input at the board level for where the direction of Zillow is going. You would think if you're going to be involved in a company like this, and you don't have to be, you have plenty of money, you must be bullish on what the company is doing. So what exactly are these investors seeing in Zillow that they're so excited about? Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. I think one of the things that these investors are excited about is what Zillow is calling the super app. And really the theory behind this is when you are looking for a home, in the old paradigm, what you would do is you would call a broker, maybe somebody that you know, somebody local and regional. This is a very localized market. You maybe even call a mortgage lender or a banker that you know. So all these things were very local, very segmented as far as the market goes. You bring in digital solutions like Zillow a couple of decades ago, and now suddenly this information is all over the place. But you still had brokers involved, partly because of that collusion that I talked about earlier. But in theory, we should move into a world where all of the housing information, the inventory that's available, the pricing information is all on the internet the way that it is for all kinds of content and information today. This is the way that the internet works, is that information is suddenly abundant and it's available to everybody. The power position in the market then becomes the marketplace that is now connecting those buyers and sellers. So where are the eyeballs going? Well, they're going to Zillow. And so if Zillow can be the place that you go to look for a house, to buy a house, to finance a house, to sell a house, to rent, I'll get to the rental piece in just a little bit. If this is the go-to place for housing, it becomes the housing super app. Now suddenly they have a phenomenal position in the multi-trillion-dollar housing market, which is tremendous upside for a company that's still relatively small in Zillow. So this is the vision. This is the for sale side and what the vision is for pulling all these things together. So you basically have two pieces. You have the mover themselves, and then you have the agent. So you have things like, how are we going to schedule tours of the house? Well, they have Showing Time, a management tool for that. You have messaging services. You can write digital offers. Movers can find financing on Zillow. All of these things are going to be available on Zillow, and the more people who are actually using the platform, the better it's going to be for Zillow. The same thing is going to be true for renters. If Zillow is a place that you go to search, and the other company in this market would be CoStar, but I think Zillow is a much better name in both of these. CoStar owns apartments.com and homes.com, but Zillow is one name for all of these things. You can search, tour, apply, sign a lease, pay, and even insure. So again, if you have the platform, which is where you're actually going to find places to live, you can potentially pull in other value-added tools. And now suddenly you have a power position in the market as a company like Zillow. That's the long-term trajectory from Zillow. A huge transition from iBuying, which it was really leaning into in 2020, in 2021. They got out of that business. It seemed like that wasn't going to work well. And I think that's probably been the right move. But now the move is to be a more digital-first platform company. And you look at people like Bill Gurley joining the board of directors, J-Ho putting $100 million to work in the stock. I think they are seeing the potential that Zillow has to be an asymmetric stock over the next 10, 20 years. So this is going to take a while for this strategy to play out, but at the end of the day, if Zillow is successful, this is not going to be a company with a $10 billion enterprise value like it is today. It's going to be a company with at least 10x potential, maybe even 100x potential, depending on what exactly the role is that it plays in the housing market. If you think about Zillow potentially taking a 1% fee for all housing transactions in the US compared to the 6% fee or so that realtors are taking today, well, this is going to be a much, much bigger business than it is today, much, much more profitable. So if people like J-Ho are putting their money to work in Zillow, I think that just reinforces this long-term strategy, reinforces the bull case for investors, and it isn't a single reason to buy the stock, but it should be one that you should note as an investor or a shareholder like I am. But what do you think about Zillow today? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.